Welcome to Say More, the podcast where we expand the conversation around what it means to be human. I'm Andy Spray, and I'm here with my co-host, Emily Lawyer, licensed professional counselor. We're answering your real questions, and while we're at it, creating a community where we can grow together, learn how to connect more to self in order to connect more to others and more to God. Hi.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
Great.
I have a little story for the people.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we got a comment on, I don't remember, Spotify or one of those things, and it specifically referenced your laugh.
And of course, I'm going to laugh.
You're going to laugh.
At that. By the way, thank you to those of you, again, who are leaving comments, who are sharing. Again,
we just want you to listen.
It's not about us,
but that's a good bonus.
We are very excited that the content is resonating. But yes,
but
somebody
you got
commented.
a specific laugh comment, which you are a really good laugher. I also married a good laugher.
You did.
I love a good laugher. Actually, that's what I liked most about him at first. I was like, look at this guy laughing at everything I says. I'm interested. But I think they described it as a lithe.
Lilting.
That's what it was.
Listen, I'll take lithe as well. Anytime anybody wants to describe any part of me as lithe.
Did you notice that she has it memorized? Did you notice that she could instantly recall lilting laugh? You have a great laugh, and you're very fun to make laugh. Mm-hmm. And I don't even usually, I'm not intentionally out here trying to get you to laugh. No. That's just sort of our natural rapport. But we were together. This is the story I want to tell. We were together a couple weeks ago, and we were looking at, listen, this happens to all of us. Mm-hmm. You get caught in an unflattering screen grab.
Who hasn't been there?
In fact, I remember I told you one time you looked like Queen Elizabeth I because it blew out your skin tone and it made your hair all red and it made your forehead go back to the crown of your head. But we saw a screenshot of someone we know. See, she's already... And I said, I certainly wasn't trying to be mean, and I hope it's not construed as being mean. And I wasn't really even trying to be funny. I was just making an observation. I said, he looks like he's being born. And I said, he looks like he's actively coming out of the birth canal.
It was the facial expression.
He had the facial expression of a baby being born. To me, whatever. It's a throwaway comment. That tickled you.
I got so tickled.
So you could not stop laughing. Your instant fits.
Fits of laughter, tears, something just hit my funny bone.
So I don't know, 5 minutes later, I thought we had moved on.
I did too.
And
I thought we had moved on too.
I'm literally in the middle of telling you something. And I think I started with, I had kind of a trauma reaction this week. And I start describing, I'm 2 sentences in, and you burst into laughter.
I'm laughing again, even thinking about it.
Because you were still thinking.
And I knew it was coming. You were talking, and I was trying so...
Not about that.
No, you were talking about the trauma response, and I was trying so hard to be present and listen so well. And I knew it was coming. All I kept thinking about was that birth canal comment. And I was biting my cheeks, trying not to laugh. Don't laugh. Oh my goodness, that would be so rude, Emily. That would be so rude. And it's just, I couldn't.
It came over you. You burst into laughter in the middle of my trauma story. And you apologized profusely. I was not offended, but you apologized profusely. And you're like, I'm sorry, I just can't stop thinking about the birth canal comment. So then we get into the week, and you tell me over Marco Polo that you were home and doing laundry, and you would just burst out.
I did. It just kept following me.
It followed you. Then you tell me, where did it follow you?
Then I had to tell you this just a couple of days ago. I was in the middle of a session.
By the way, these are paying clients. You're with a paying client in a session in your professional setting.
True confessions of the therapy world, folks. Your therapists are human too. And their job is to manage themselves so that you don't have to manage them. However, sometimes therapists have a quip that their best friend made that is just shows up out of nowhere. And I literally kind of had to pinch a part of my body to keep me from laughing.
And now, just so everyone knows, you did not laugh
No, I did not.
in front of this person. Just in front of me with my trauma.
The training, yeah.
The paying client, you did not laugh.
No.
But you really struggled.
I did. It was that good of a line.
Well, I think it's just, you're just a good laugher. You've got a so I'm glad the people like your laugh, because I do love to make you laugh. And I think you also got another comment. This was not an official comment. I think it was a comment from a family member.
Oh, yes. My brother recently actually commented on the laughter part as well. And this is why siblings keep you grounded.
Sure.
Right? He said, yeah, it's really good that you don't have a really annoying laugh. And I was like, yeah, you're
So
actually
nice.
right. Thank you. He said, no, I mean it as a compliment.
I was good. Yeah. Thanks? ? But it could be annoying. And I think the people, or at least two of them, have spoken and they find your laugh very lovely. And we're so glad.
What a perfect duo we are. For
'Cause
God
listen.
to put someone who makes me laugh together with someone with a lilting laugh.
A lilting laugh. Because if we're not laughing, listen, that's why I wasn't offended. You could laugh in the middle of my trauma story. Because we got to get through this one way or another. I'm getting through it laughing. If I stop laughing, that's when you really need to call someone.
That's when there's a real problem.
Yeah, it's a real problem if I stop laughing. Listen, we are going to play a game today.
Okay.
I don't know if it will have laughs. I hope it has laughs. I want you guys to play at home. This is the kind of game where you might be screaming the answer before we get it.
I love those.
We are talking about, our theme for the day is distorted thinking.
Yes.
So you had said to me, hey, we're going to talk about distorted thinking. I got this question. Do you have a game or something? And when I think of distortion, I went right to the Mattel classic, Mad Gab. Okay?
Which, explain what that is, because you had to kind of remind me.
I had to remind you. Mad Gab, I don't even know, it might be plural, Mad Gabs. No,
Okay.
I think it's singular. There's only one Gab, just one. It is when you get like a weird phonetic breakdown of a phrase, which it doesn't make sense, but when you say it out loud, you kind of hear, oh, it's this.
And you can put it together when you hear it.
So it's kind of it's broken down phonetically, but it might not be like grouped correctly with the right words or syllables. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's the distortion.
That's the distortion. So it's a bit of a distortion. Now, when we're doing this, we had a little bit of a debate because I think it's easier if you're just listening.
Okay.
And not reading it.
Okay.
You think it's easier if you're reading it to understand what it's trying to say.
That was my theory.
That's your theory, at least, because you don't know because we haven't played yet.
Right.
I think it's easier if you're just listening. So I think the people who are listening at home or on their walks in their car are going to get it faster.
They're going to have an advantage?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is also, we're going to make it a collaborative game.
Oh.
This is not a competition.
Oh.
So you're going to read one and we're both going to try and guess it.
At the same time?
Yes. And then I'll read one and we'll both try and guess it.
And chances are everybody listening is probably going to guess it before you and I are.
That's what I think is going to happen. Now, I had my assistant, by that I mean my dear husband, I had him get these words, so I have not looked at them, but he did not include the answers.
So if we get stuck, we're just, that's where we end it.
I don't own this game, so these are just from the internet. Okay. So I have no idea.
If we get stuck, see if people will have to comment in and say, this is the one that you all didn't get.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we're going to see if the distorted phrasing.
I'm already feeling confused.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Yes, you go first.
Okay.
So you're reading it out loud, but we're both trying to guess it at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to hear these words that are actually a different phrase that I've got to try to synthesize. Okay.
That's it. Okay.
I'm feeling nervous.
Okay. Don't feel nervous. It's just Mad Gab. You don't have to be nervous. It's, it's okay.
Okay.
It's not that deep.
Okay.
Thigh sing gone thick ache.
Icing on the cake.
Oh, icing on the cake.
Yeah.
I thought you said I sing on the cake. No, icing on the cake. Yes. Good job. All right, you go. I'm giving us a point for that.
Yay. Jog clay dye scream.
Chocolate ice cream.
Oh, boy. Okay, so my theory already is working out.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever would have gotten chocolate from jog clay.
Yeah. See, because I heard it.
All
okay.
right.
Walcome Island Mashoos. Walcome Island Mash Ooze.
Welcome.
Walcome Island.
Do you know it?
No. Walcome Island Mash Ooze. Something with cashews. No. Welcome.
Island Mashews?
Welcome.
Really? Do you have any guess at all?
I'm going to close my eyes. Welcome Island Mashews. Chris Matthews. I don't know. Okay. We'll come back to that one.
Come back to it.
We'll come back to that one.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to say these, and then just like the comment, we're going to be
deep into the content.
into the podcast, and I'm going to say, This is what it was. Okay. My turn again?
Yes.
All right. Pyrate Softy Care Hip Bin.
That's a long one. What? Okay.
Sure. Pyrate Softy Care Hip Bin. We're terrible at this.
Try again.
Okay. Pyrate Softy Care Hip Bin. Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes. Okay.
Woo.
Okay.
These are heavy lifts. All right.
Syrup all Mick our knee.
Syrup on Mickey on the.
Syrup all Mick our knee. Sir Paul McCartney?
Oh, yes.
Syrup all Mick our... Wait.
Yes.
Yes, Sir Paul McCartney.
Yes, and that makes sense that your husband would have chosen that one.
Good job, Matt.
He would have thrown that one in. All right. We're not doing it. Here we go. We're getting the hang of it. Battery snot included.
Batteries not included.
Look at us go. We just needed to get in the groove.
Jeep herb... No. Jeep herb high D doesn't.
Jeep herb high D doesn't.
Jeep herb high D doesn't. Jeep herb high D doesn't. D does.
Heidi? That's, see, part of...
Jeep herb high D doesn't.
My brain wants to focus in on just a certain word, and then I feel like I can't zoom it out to see the rest of it, which is ironically is going to play in perfectly to what we're going to talk about.
It's all in a theme, Emily. It's all in a theme.
Say it one more time.
Jeep herb high D doesn't.
Heidi doesn't. D doesn't.
Heidi doesn't.
Okay, we're going to have to come back to that one.
Oh, boy. Okay.
All right. Are you marking it?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Whole Imp Games. Olympic Games.
Sure.
Whole Imp Pig Aims.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Olympic
good.
Games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please leave a mass itch. Please leave a tip. No.
Please leave a tip.
No. Please leave a message.
Please leave a message.
Oh, see, you're better than you thought.
Okay, all
I
right.
did not think you'd be very good.
Here we go. Eighth Reap Ease Hoot. Eighth Reap Ease Hoot. A three-piece hoot.
A three-piece suit.
Oh boy, good.
Yes.
See, okay, I'm learning to kind of try to blend certain things together that you wouldn't think to blend together.
You didn't know there was a strategy to this game.
Okay.
Were that sway 10 cold?
Were that sway 10 cold?
Were that sway 10 cold?
Were that sway?
Were that sway 10 cold? Were that sleigh 10 cold? Did that work? Were that sway 10 cold?
Swayton. That sway.
Were that sway. That's. Were that sway 10 cold?
Anybody
See,
listening
I'm
at home.
better at answering yours because I can't see the the distorted words.
This probably also means that we're certain types of learners, now that I'm thinking about it. You know, like some people learn better by listening.
Every week it's a new diagnosable condition, quite frankly. Okay, we're going to try again because I've got 3 we did not get.
Okay, hang on. I've got one more.
Okay.
One more. We knit, train, sip oars. We knit, train, sip. We knit, train, sip oars. We knit, train.
Ween it train. I love those.
How about train sip oars? We knit, train, sip oars. Like that helped.
Wow. Okay. No. All right. Let's come back.
Okay.
We might have to just give up on some of these. I specifically was like, we don't need the answers.
I liked that idea too. And now that we're executing that,
I'm rethinking it.
I'm
rethinking it. Okay. Welcome, Island Mashoes. Welcome, Island Cashews. Welcome, Island Mashoes. My shoes. Welcome, Island Mashoes. Walking in my shoes?
Oh, I bet that's it.
My shoes.
Boy, that
Walking
was
in
tough.
my shoes.
That was tough.
Okay. Jeeb her. No, see, it's herb, but I think we'd say herb.
Okay.
Jeep herb high D doesn't. Jeeperd I D doesn't.
Jeepers, creepers, jeopardize.
Jeopardize.
What's the last part?
D doesn't. Daily double. No. Jeopardize. Cheaper by deed dozen.
Cheaper by the dozen.
Cheaper by the dozen.
Oh my goodness.
How many of you are screaming that into your phone right now? All of you. It's easier when you're not looking at it.
Oh my goodness.
Here's my last one.
Okay, last one.
Were that sway 10 cold?
Were that sweat and cold? So,
Were that sway?
Sweat and cold?
Sweat and cold the oldies. Were that sway 10 cold?
Were that sway 10 cold?
Here, I want you to read mine.
Okay.
It's the last one.
Were that sway 10 cold? That I think,
worth its weight in gold.
Oh my goodness.
See, I needed you to read it. Okay.
Amazing.
That's all 6 on mine. We got one more on yours to read.
Yes. Ween it train sippers. Ween it train. Ween it. Rain sippers.
Ween it.
We knit train. Come on, everybody. Get on the we knit train.
Get everybody the we knit train. We suppors. Okay, for the sake of our listening audience,
we're gonna leave
that one. Maybe we'll include it in the show notes if we ever figure it out. You have already, no doubt, figured it out. But just for the sake of you all listening, let's go ahead and move on to our question of the week.
Hey, Emily and Andy. My question for you guys is, why is it that when one thing goes wrong, I feel like my whole world's destined to fall apart alongside of it?
All right, let's go ahead and start just by unpacking the question a little bit. So the question is saying, something goes differently than I expected or wanted it to. That's the first part of the question. When one thing goes wrong. So if something went differently than I expected or wanted it to, then I feel some sort of way. And then suddenly my thoughts and feelings escalate to the point that I am believing everything everywhere is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
My ability to see accurate reality. In other words, my whole world has not actually fallen apart right now. It's just that one thing went wrong, right? But my ability to see that accurate reality has become completely distorted. And just as it's just as challenging to access reality when that starts to take hold as it was for me to decipher the sayings in our game. It's kind of like suddenly I find myself in a fun house full of like a hall of mirrors.
Yeah.
And the distortions feel like what's real instead of reality feeling like what's real. So in the counseling world, we often refer to this type of experience that the question is talking about. We refer to this as a cognitive distortion. We all experience them. All of us utilize a cognitive distortion in some form at some time. For some of us, this is a fleeting situation. For others of us, this can be an incredibly debilitating experience where we can get caught in a thought loop and it literally feels impossible to get out of it.
Yeah. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about like what are cognitive
distortion?
Yeah.
Sure. So let's go ahead and define that a little bit more. So it's basically a thinking error.
Interesting.
The thought, feels as real as the hand in front of my face. But the thought is formed through a filter that distorts my reality. So it's erroneous thinking or illogical thinking. It's a thinking error. However, it feels as real can get. Now, we have several different types. We're going to just explore some of the most common ones. And I like to explore these just so that we can all practice knowing how to recognize them. This is a lot of what we do in this podcast, right? Just kind of becoming more familiar with what's happening in our brains, in our bodies, in our nervous systems, so that when a cognitive distortion does show up, we know how to call a spade a spade.
Okay.
And there's only, as we're talking about these, you're only going to hear slight variations in all of these because they all live outside of rational thought. But again, it can be helpful to have some specific language just so that we can be able to recognize them a little bit easier. So let's start with the cognitive distortion that's in our question. We would call that catastrophizing.
Okay.
You might also call that jumping to conclusions, going to worst case scenario. In that type of distorted thinking, my thoughts tell me that the proportion of something is bigger than it actually is. So I start to make irrational assumptions about people. I start to make irrational assumptions about circumstances. I start to live out of really broad generalizations, even though there's very, very minimal evidence to prove that it's true. Maybe even only a single event, kind of like our question says.
Yeah. Just one thing.
One thing happens, and then I just jump to these very broad, catastrophic thinking that's telling me that everything is going to fall apart. So we would call that, again, that type of cognitive distortion, catastrophizing or jumping to conclusions. We also might use a cognitive distortion that we call all or nothing thinking or black and white thinking. That's when the type of distorted thinking shows up as things are either all good or things are either all bad. Something is either all right or it's all wrong. It's only showing up in extreme or absolute terms. And when I'm in that type of distortion, it feels impossible to hold two things at once. It feels just too unsafe to sit in the complexity of a person or the complexity of a situation. It can show up, all or nothing thinking can show up a lot in my assessment of a person or a people group, because this is the reality, right? The same person can present as kind at times and also horribly mean at times. That's reality. We are complex beings. The same person can tell the truth sometimes and lie sometimes. But all or nothing thinking, it says it feels safer to overgeneralize one or the other, to filter out all of one thing and just stay in that person is either all good or all bad. The circumstance is either all good or all bad.
So when you said a person or people group, it means that's what we do to others in our lives.
Correct.
Like you would lump my family always lies about everything.
Correct.
Or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I start to think or perceive through the distortion instead of the reality.
So it's not always just about an individual person. It could be about a group
Could
of
be
people.
a people group, could be just the circumstance. This one thing happened, and so now my whole day is ruined.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
So that's when we get into the all or nothing thinking. So we've got catastrophizing, jumping to conclusions, all or nothing thinking. And then the other one that we're going to explore is what we might call emotional reasoning. When I'm in that type of distorted thinking, I have a tendency to interpret the experience I'm having or a tendency to interpret my situation based upon what I'm feeling in the moment, based upon the emotion. So example, it might sound like, because I'm feeling hopeless right now, that means the situation is hopeless.
Okay.
In reality, I'm feeling an emotion, and emotions come and go. They're like clouds. Emotions happen, as we've all been learning together. They're momentary, they're temporary, They want to move through. But when my brain starts to utilize the cognitive distortion of emotional reasoning, when I feel the emotion, it says because I'm feeling the emotion, then that is what is true about the situation. Because I'm feeling the emotion of hopelessness right now, that means the situation is
that
hopeless.
Based on a previous experience?
It can be, and we're going to learn a little bit more about how, our past often shows up in our present when we start to utilize cognitive distortions. Emotional reasoning also happens a lot with overwhelm. Because I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, the situation itself is overwhelming and I can't do it. The task itself is overwhelming and I can't do it. It's going to always be overwhelming. So it's a tendency to view the circumstance or the situation through the lens of my emotion.
Okay.
So we've got catastrophizing, all or nothing thinking, and emotional reasoning. Those are the three. There's others, but those are the three main cognitive distortions that we're going to kind of focus on today.
Those are the big three.
Those are the big three. And as you're listening, at home, you probably have already been able to identify one or even all of those for yourself.
And so if these are like the main ones, and you said sometimes it can be because of an experience you've had or a situation that you're tying it to, what triggers these?
What triggers them? All right. So it's a bit of a combo platter.
Okay. So it's not just one.
It's generally when there's a few different criteria that are present at the same time. First one is it's often triggered by something unexpected or out of the ordinary. So something happens that's out of the routine, out of the ordinary, or is not what I expected to happen. That's the first part of the...
Well, that's our question, too. One thing went wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to go right, and it went wrong.
Okay.
Now, when something unexpected or out of the ordinary happens, there's an emotional response that comes along with it, right? Usually, it's going to be some sort of sharp or quick sense of fear. And when I'm using the emotion of fear, I would include worry, concern, insecurity, suspicion. So not always, but often it's the biggest emotional response that comes along with that unexpected or out of the ordinary is some sharp or big experience of fear. Okay. Then you add on top of that, it's a period of ambiguity or a lack of timely resolution. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I send somebody a text, and what I expect is to get a timely response. This person almost always responds to me in a timely fashion. The content of the text would render a timely response. So I send the text, but then I don't get a response.
I know where this is going.
So it's
because
unexpected.
I feel this way.
Right? Or out of the ordinary. So what usually immediately comes up for us, some sort of fear.
Yeah.
I've got some sort of insecurity, some sort of, it can even be shame. I mean, that would be a very...
Mine is always, they're mad at me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would come along with fear of rejection.
Sure.
Right? So now I've got the fear piece is starting to happen, and I'm not getting any kind of information to help fill in the gap. My brain now is experiencing this ambiguity, which is an awful experience for our brains. Our brains hate that sense of unresolved ambiguity.
Yeah.
So if we've got all that happening together, that is a very, very distressing experience for the body. The body often can't handle that level of discomfort. So it tries to find steadiness or resolution or certainty in all of that uncertainty by going to cognitive distortions, by going to some sort of distorted thinking.
So your brain, it's like you don't have enough, well, I don't know if this is really right, but like you don't have enough information to see it clearly, and your brain would rather see it through a distorted lens than not
100%.
See anything at all?
100%. Okay. Because it needs that sense of certainty, safety, security, and it says we just got to get to something to help us feel that
Right.
as soon as possible. It's
Okay.
a little bit like, when we would play tag as kids and you want to run to home base as soon as possible to help you feel safe. That's kind of what's happening is my brain is saying, we just got to get back to base as soon as possible so that we can feel safe.
Even if it's distorted.
Even if it's distorted, even if it's irrational, even if it's illogical, that's what's happening is my brain is trying to give me a felt sense of safety and security and protection by going to certainty or predictability.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go ahead and bring in now a little bit of our biology. We're going to revisit our tigers and our owls and our hippos, remember?
That's so funny that you said it because I was literally just about to say, a lot of people I know who say, I have anxiety. This is what I'm hearing them talk about.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So when you're bringing in tigers and hippo, it made me think of anxiety immediately.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So, and when, if you haven't listened to our anxiety episode from last season.
Peabody-winning anxiety episode, season 1.
When we are talking about our tiger, technically we're talking about the part of our brain we call the amygdala. The amygdala is fight, flight, or freeze. So when all of this combo platter of situation happens, my amygdala gets activated. My tiger wakes up and starts to say, we've got to get to safety as soon as possible. Now, remember, our tiger is not our owl, right?
Yeah.
Our amygdala can't count the cost if I go to irrational thinking or distorted thinking. That's not its job. That's my prefrontal cortex's job. That's the owl's job.
Yeah.
But the amygdala just says, we just got to get to safety ASAP. So as you're listening, you might even be asking that same question of, well, Emily, I don't understand. How could going to catastrophizing provide safety when every time I go to a distorted thought like that, it's just going to create more and more fear? Because of the way that our brain works, because of the way the amygdala works, it cannot count the cost. It cannot do that type of discernment for us. It just says we got to get to certainty as soon as possible.
Well, and I'm going to give another throwback, and you can tell me if this is not correct. But you've also said the brain wants to go for a pattern that it knows. And if this is something you've done before, that's going to be a well-worn path to get right back to.
Excellent.
Do I get a prize?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going next.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's perfect. Because I was going to sort to add on, there are several things that can also make us more susceptible to utilizing this distorted thinking or these cognitive distortions. And that's the first one that I was going to talk about is, yes, once there is a neural pathway that has been grooved, my tiger wakes up, it's got to get to certainty. It says, great, I know what to do. Let's use catastrophizing. Then the next time, my brain says, hey, remember that time when we felt some fear and there was an unexpected circumstance and we didn't get a resolution? Remember what we did? Remember when we went to catastrophizing? It worked.
Yeah.
It helped you feel safe, at least in the moment. So let's do that again, only let's do it faster this time.
Oh, great. More intensity.
Let's do it with more intensity.
Yeah.
Remember that time when we used emotional reasoning whenever we felt hopeless? And then we looked through the lens of the emotion and said, you know what? The whole circumstance is just hopeless. It's never going to happen. That worked because it created a sense of safety. We went to certainty or predictability. It worked. Let's do it again. Let's do it faster this time. And so, yes, to your point, then I start to create this superhighway neural pathway where my brain just goes to these cognitive distortions automatically, without me even trying, just by default. So when we have been hiking that over and over and over again, that is a way that maybe this can start to be amplified. And then if we also add in, which we talked a little bit about in our anxiety episode, sometimes there are certain circumstances from our past that can show up in our present, certain situations that might feel familiar, certain situations where there's ambiguity that might feel familiar to something I felt in the past.
Okay.
And my tiger is going to say, oh, okay, remember when that happened? That was really scary. We didn't have anything that we could do about it other than going to one of these cognitive distortions. Let's do that again. So these are some additional elements that can even heighten our susceptibility to using those cognitive distortions. Okay, so let's, just to make sure we're all tracking, let's name a bunch of examples.
Yeah.
We've already talked a little bit about the text situation. I'm going to do a callback to an episode that we had a couple of weeks ago.
You better be caught up because we're doing a lot of reference polls.
We are. Our shame episode, if everyone remembers.
Which one, part 1 or part 2?
I can't remember. I think it was part 1 where we were talking about dating shame.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I told the story of my dear friend who took her responsibility very seriously to make sure that I was safe. And she maybe reacted in a way that was kind of big, right? She and I were actually talking after she listened to that episode. She's a loyal listener, and we were laughing and reminiscing. And she said, well, there was a part that you left out, though.
Oh, there's more to the story.
There was more to the story. And truthfully, when we were talking about it, I had to confess to her, yes, I did leave it out. Honestly, it was because I had completely forgotten the detail. But my phone had died, which, thinking back on it, oh my goodness, how irresponsible of me. But she said that was the ambiguity for me. She said, I was trying to call you over and over and over again.
And then when you didn't answer,
and then
she moved into, oh my gosh, Emily's in a ditch.
That's exactly.
She's watched enough Lifetime movies. She was like, that one's in the trunk of a car somewhere.
Yeah, so it was a textbook situation for her brain to use catastrophizing.
That makes sense.
Something out of the ordinary and unexpected. I had told her, I'm going to call you within the certain amount of time. That didn't happen. She tried to call me to check the facts, couldn't get any information. She's feeling more and more distress.
So she pulls the nuclear option.
Her brain says this is the best place to go for you to feel safe. And so, again, we were laughing about it, but it was a perfect example. And I told her I would offer a redaction to own what was mine to own there. Another example might be, let's say I have a medical test that comes back abnormal. And then I have to wait a few more days to get some clarifying information.
Yeah.
There's unknown, there's unexpected, there's out of the ordinary, and I don't get resolution in a timely fashion or as quickly as I would like to. There's fear, there's unknown that might come along with all of that. Let's go ahead and say maybe I have some part of my story from the past that involves someone getting a medical diagnosis. So now my tiger is more susceptible to waking up in that type of scenario. We've got all the pieces set in place for me to utilize catastrophizing or jumping to conclusions or all or nothing thinking in order to try to feel some semblance of safety or certainty in the moment.
Like our brains demand to fill in the gap.
Demands it. It hates that feeling of ambiguity.
And more often than not, we're filling in the gap with this distortion.
Right. And you might even, as you know, as people are listening, you might be saying, well, why doesn't my brain go to best case scenario to fill in the gaps? Never happens because, again, my brain is trying to get certainty upon certainty. Let's just go ahead and plan for any possible scenario that could happen, any possible amount of fear that could happen. Let's just go ahead and go straight there. And that way we can get that sense of certainty. But every thought has an emotion attached to it.
Right.
So that worst case scenario thought has even more fear attached to it. And now my tiger gets woken up from that new fear. You can see how this creates a vicious cycle that can really end up being incredibly distressing. And we can feel like it's impossible to get out of. Maybe I'm in a situation where I'm waiting for something. And on any given day, I'm feeling so disappointed that disappointment starts to turn into feelings of hopelessness. And now I am certain that thing is never going to happen. And again, when I'm looking through the lens of the distortion, it feels as real as the sky is blue. Everything in me, 100% is convinced this is what is happening. This is the truth. This is the reality. Maybe this is another situation where my past can show up in my present. Maybe I'm experiencing some sort of relational hurt. Maybe a divorce or some sort of a relational rupture. And now I'm in this relationship where my partner suddenly doesn't say I love you, even though they've been saying it every day up until then. So now I've got an out of the ordinary situation, and I'm convinced they don't love me at all anymore, right? I'm convinced that it's all going downhill. This can show up a lot in parenting with our kids. You know, if you're listening and you're working with kids or you have kids, you've had the experience where your child comes in and says, I can't go to school tomorrow because nobody likes me.
Yeah.
Right? And when you start to explore, when you start to hold compassionate curiosity, you learn, oh, one event happened, one situation happened that was maybe unexpected. There was a lot of emotion that came up out of it. You didn't get any clarity as to why it happened. And now my child's tiger is waking up and going to all or nothing thinking. One thing went wrong, so my day is ruined. I ate one cookie, so that means I'm a complete failure. I made one mistake, so that means I'm a complete failure. So that would be another all or nothing thinking example.
Yeah.
So any of those would fall into those scenarios where my brain might start to use that distorted thinking or those cognitive distortions. Again, it sounds ironic, but it's a way to try to give ourselves a sense of safety and security, to get to home base and feel some safety as soon as possible.
Even though it's not really the most helpful way to do it.
Even though it's not ultimately, in the moment, it's helpful.
Right, I see.
Long term, it's going to cost us.
It's going to cost us.
It's going to cost us. Okay, so now that we've all kind of gotten familiar with it,
so
what do I do with this?
That was going to be my question. What do I
do with this?
Now that you've shared this with us, and now what?
What do I do with it for myself? How do I walk alongside someone who's experiencing distorted thinking? Our first impulse is almost always to correct the perspective. That whether it's for myself or for someone else.
Like if your kid is saying something, no, everybody loves you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Our first impulse is to try to bring some rational thought to the irrational thought, to bring some logic to the illogic thought or illogical thought. There is a time and a place for that. We're going to get to that. But we have to revisit. Again, this was triggered by our tiger waking up. This was triggered by our amygdala being activated. So we have to work with the amygdala first. We have to work with the tiger first. This was not triggered by the thinking part of our brain. It feels like it was because we're talking about thoughts, right? But this was not triggered by the prefrontal cortex. So we have to figure out a way first to tame our tiger.
Well, you know the famous line of my grandfather's that gets quoted in my family all the time.
I do, but go ahead and tell everybody. I've said it many times to other people.
So good, right? Yeah. He was way ahead of his time on this one. He would always say, if logic didn't put it there, logic's not taking it away.
That's it.
And so you'd be like,
that's it, Grandpa.
All right, I guess if logic didn't put it there, logic didn't take it away. So we're not starting
Here's
the correct information about medical tests that you should know.
Right.
That's not a helpful place to start.
Correct.
Okay.
We're going to get to checking the facts.
Okay. But first we're going with our tiger.
We're going to tame the tiger first.
Okay.
And everybody listening, you get to choose or use some trial and error to figure out what helps you tame your tiger best. And you can go to that. It might be some sort of grounding, counting colors, using box breathing, going for a short walk. It might be naming the emotion that you felt when the unexpected or the out of the ordinary thing happened. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling uncertain. I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling helpless. Name it to tame it. So we could use grounding. We could use naming the emotion. If I can name it in relationship and get some empathy, that's definitely going to help my amygdala calm down. That's definitely going to tame my tiger. And naming that emotion could be in relationship with God, could be in relationship with a therapist, with another person. It also could include empathic connection with myself, right? Being able to offer some empathy to myself and what I'm experiencing in that moment. So much of what we do in this podcast is making sense of the human condition, right? Why we do the things that we do. And when it can make more sense, we can access so much more compassionate curiosity for ourselves. And honestly, sometimes for those of us who maybe our brain is used to using this adaptation a lot, we can start to feel some shame around it.
Sure, yeah.
Right? We can start to take on these labels of this means I'm dramatic. This means I'm too much. This means something is wrong with me, that I always or often go to this worst case scenario or jumping to conclusions. What we're naming doesn't mean anything's wrong with you, right? It means that your brain has developed an adaptation to try to get you to a sense of safety and certainty as soon as possible. Your amygdala is actually doing what your amygdala is supposed to do, and it's doing it really, really, really well.
Yeah.
Now, it might be costing you something, but that's actually when we're naming what's happening, that's actually what's going on. So being able to even bring that type of empathic connection to myself can be a way to tame my tiger first. What we're looking to do is we're looking to rewire the nervous system to find certainty in connection instead of finding certainty in the cognitive distortion, to find certainty in relationship instead of finding certainty in the distorted thinking. And, for those of us in the Christian faith, often we love to use the verse from 2 Corinthians about bringing every thought captive in obedience to Christ, right? Or we might use the verse of whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is noble, think on those things. Beautiful, beautiful strategy to be able to check the facts. When we go and read those entire chapters, though, in effect, the whole of the New Testament, there's an assumption that we've connected to relationship first. The context of those verses is you've connected with the love of Christ. That's where I've gone to get certainty first. And then once I have that, now I can use these other things to check the facts. We tend to skip over the relationship part and just go to, well, let's check the facts first. Let's correct the perspective first. So again, this is another one of those places where science and scripture meets up in a beautifully synthesized way. Relationship first, connection first, find certainty in that first so that my nervous system can start to be retrained to finding certainty there instead of finding certainty in the cognitive distortion.
I love that. The connection first. And you're right. That's a theme through the whole of Scripture. And
completely.
Yet what we're hearing a lot more often is reframe your thinking, be grateful, think differently, think on different. And it's like, those are all really great strategies. They're just after the safety and connection.
Correct.
That's so good, Emily.
Correct. For that to be established first. Okay. So let's finish up with, once my tiger is calmed down, now I can check the facts. And there's lots of different ways that you can utilize for that. It might be helpful to kind of find a go-to again for yourself if you're someone that's wanting to kind of retrain the brain a little bit. Sometimes it can be helpful to say to myself, okay, this doesn't mean it's true. It just means it's familiar. It's just a familiar pathway. So this thought that's happening, this worst case scenario, doesn't mean that it's true. It just means it's familiar. Sometimes it can be helpful if I'm in emotional reasoning to just remind myself, this feeling won't last forever. This feeling of overwhelm won't last forever because no emotion lasts forever. My go-to might be using, if I'm in all or nothing thinking, kind of expanding it to a scale of 1 to 100 instead of using a scale of 0 to 1. Sometimes people find that helpful. One of my favorites that I like to use with clients when their brains are utilizing catastrophizing is something I call the thought box, where you take out an imaginary box, although I have a real box in my office. And together we have to put every possible reason we can think of that the situation might not be resolved yet. Every possible reason I can think of that the person might not have texted me back yet. And anything goes, including worst case scenario, including jumping to conclusions. And we put them all in the box. And then we empty out the box and we write them all down. Writing out your thoughts can sometimes be a really helpful way to check the facts. And then we go through and we say, okay, out of all of these, which one seems the most unlikely? And then we kind of look at it. Again, this is after the body and the nervous system and the amygdala has calmed down, right? Well, okay, this one seems which one seems most unlikely? Which one is the most generous assumption? Which one did my brain go to first? And then we can start to kind of interact with the thoughts in a different way, and that can help us to check the facts.
But that's not during fight or flight.
But that's definitely not during fight or flight. So there's lots of different ways that you can utilize to check those facts. Again, a sort of the main point that we're sticking with is tame the tiger first. Get the nervous system calmed and regulated first, and then we can go to check the facts.
You said so many good things, and I'm just really still chewing on that, the connection first. If we are finding our safety in connection, and of course, that's what we're attempting to do here all the time. We're trying to find connection with each other, connection to ourselves, connection to God. But that's where we're finding our safety first, when our brain is so desperate for that safety. Going there, and then moving into some of these great strategies on retraining your thoughts and all of those, and building new neural pathways and all those kinds of things. Years ago, you told me, it might have even been when you were in school, something you said, emotions are like clouds. But years ago, you gave me an example of like, if you were on a bridge and there's a stream underneath you and you throw a leaf in.
Oh, yeah.
That's like an emotion.
Yeah.
I've thought of this so many times when I'm feeling overwhelmed or a really big, scary feeling is in my body. I just picture that I threw a leaf over a bridge and I watch it and there it is and it's there for a little while and eventually.
And it floats. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you for, I just wanted to share that in case that's helpful for others because I, like I said, I think about that one quite a lot. But I'm thankful for the safety in my friendship with you and for our connection with you guys out there who are listening. We are really, I say this a lot, but it's true. Like we are actively in this together. Like we are working through these things in real time and sharing them along with you. And we're so grateful you are here and you're listening and you're joining us and you're doing this beautiful, holy work together. And so we're going to keep thinking about our mad gabs because I was trying the whole time to stay focused on what you were saying and not go into the train weebo, whatever. And so we're going to get that one figured out and we're going to see you here next time. Remember, if there's a topic you want us to say more about, you can ask questions. You can check out the show notes. You can find us on social media. There's lots of ways you can connect and we got lots more to say. So stick around. Bye.